I'm Kendra. I'm a counselor and somatic sex educator here at ESC. And over the last few weeks, I have been talking to you about the jade egg and why it is so groovy for your groin and your yoni and vagina or whatever you want to call it. But today, I actually wanted to talk to you a little bit about the times when it is best to not use a jade egg. Because yes, it is amazing, and yes, it can supercharge your sex life, and yes, it can give you orgasms upon orgasms until all your neighbors are complaining and green with envy. And there are some things to consider as to whether or not the jade egg really is the best and safest tool for you to be using at particular times in your life. So for this second to last video in our Yoni series, I am going to be going over the 3.5 times when you should think twice before using a jade egg. Okay, so here we go. Let's dive right in. The 3.5 times that you want to think twice before using a jade egg. Number one, if you are pregnant or have very recently given birth. So generally speaking, it is advised to avoid using the jade egg if you are pregnant. Pregnancies can be very fragile, especially in the early stages. And although the egg is certainly not going up into your uterus with the baby, it is very close and intimate with all of your reproductive pieces, and you just want to be extra careful. That said, I have heard some Tantra teachers say that this is actually the best time to be practicing with a jade egg because you're going to be exercising the muscles that you're going to be using during labor. So it's a little bit controversial. Ultimately though, you want to talk to your doctor, and when in doubt, don't use it. I do not want any miscarriages or complications associated with jade egg use. To my knowledge, there aren't any on record, and I want to make sure that everybody has all of the information available so that they can make the best choice for them, their body, and their baby. There is some literature to suggest that if you already have an established jade egg practice, and by this I mean at least 6 months of regular jade egg use, there would be less risk to a pregnancy. That's the same as with any exercise. Generally speaking, if you are doing an exercise before you get pregnant, it is safe to continue doing it during your pregnancy. But I am not a doctor, so please do your own research, listen to your body, and make an informed choice you think is best for you. Similarly, 6 to 8 weeks after giving birth, please give your vagina a break. It has just been through a lot, and the last thing it really needs to be doing is exercise. It is in recovery, rest and recovery. There can be a lot of tissue damage during labor, and so wait until you get the go-ahead from your doctor to be having sex. Do that first. Connect with your partner, see how that feels, and from there you can start to ease in gentle jade egg practices, and then wait until your body feels ready, probably several months, at least 3 months I would say, after giving birth before you attempt to do any sort of strength training. And if you are doing strength training, you start with very, very little weight. Time number 2 that you want to think twice before using a jade egg. If you have an IUD. Some doctors would caution against using a jade egg if you have an IUD, especially a very new IUD. The strings of your IUD hang out of the cervix, and so they can be shifted, which can cause actual tissue damage and tearing within the uterus or compromise its effectiveness as a contraceptive. Those strings could also get caught up in the string with the jade egg and even get pulled right out, and you don't want that. That said, you'll notice that I have a that said for almost each and every single one of these. That said, I had a copper IUD and I used a jade egg and everything was fine. I did wait 6 months. My doctor had said after 6 months, the IUD becomes much more stable in its position, and so I can begin to use things like a Diva cup. And so I used that 6-month marker as something to start experimenting with my jade egg, and everything felt fine. I listened to my body and I was able to do gentle practices and then eventually strength training, and everything was okay. So if you do have an IUD, talk to your doctor, listen to your body, and again, make an informed choice that you think is best for you. Time number 3 that you want to avoid using a jade egg would be if you experience chronic pelvic pain. Just as there are many pelvic floors in this world that are almost incapable of muscular contraction and are very, very weak, there are others that are chronically and painfully clenched. If you experience pelvic pain, I would highly recommend doing things like genital de-armoring before you move into any jade egg practices, especially any strength training practices. The last thing you need when you have a chronically clenched pelvis is to be trying to strengthen and clench those muscles even more. It'd be so painful. Don't do it. Genital de-armoring is the process of easing pelvic tension through massage, myofascial release, as well as different stretches for the pelvic and groin area. This is something that you can do with a somatic sex educator, a sexological body worker, and a pelvic floor physiotherapist. An ideal pelvic floor is strong, but also flexible and supple. And so the flexibility and that ease needs to come in before we can build up a proper strength. That said, when you first begin your jade egg practice, you may notice some dull aching or cramping in your pelvic floor. That's all normal. That's just your muscles getting used to being worked out. And finally, the third and a half time that I would recommend avoid using the jade egg is on your period. So this only counts as a half because it's really more like a break as opposed to fully stopping use for an extended period of time. Also, there's not really a big risk of using the jade egg on your period if you do choose to do that anyways. The reason I say no is because your period is meant to be a time of rest, relaxation, and restoration. Your body is going through a lot, and your reproductive bits and pieces in particular are doing a lot of hard work. Forcing jade egg work is like asking your yoni to burn the candle at both ends, and you're gonna stress it out. Nobody wants a stressed out yoni. Also, it can be less sanitary. It is less sanitary because you've got blood coming out of your vagina. So if you do choose to use your jade egg when you're on your period, please wash it right away with a natural soap, warm water, or give it a nice soak in a little bath with some tea tree oil and lavender oil to make sure that it is super clean. And that's it for today. If you have any questions, you can of course leave them in the comment section below. Please follow us on Instagram @eatsquat.com. And until next time, eat, squat, and come.